Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are working on chai crackle cookies, which is awesome because I love chai tea. So hopefully these cookies are delicious. First thing I've done is I've already heated up 3 tablespoons of whole milk. I just heated up in the microwave for like less than 30 seconds. And I'm going to add a strong black tea. I'm using English breakfast tea. So I'm going to add that to my milk and let it brew for 5 minutes. Okay, which I've never brewed tea in milk because I think the malt loaf, it had a brewed tea, but I think we brewed that in water, right? I'd have to go back and look. Okay, so I'm going to let that brew for 5 minutes. While that is brewing, we are going to go ahead and start to work on the chocolate that goes in our chai. My cat is saying hello. So I have 50 grams of 70% dark chocolate, and I have a double boiler system already set up over here. My water is already going. So I'm just going to heat this up and melt my chocolate. You could do this in a microwave too, it says, but I just decided I like to do it in the heat-proof bowl or the double boiler system. It just seems to be more professional. Whatever. So I just have my water simmering. I actually hear it a little bit too much. And I'm just going to stir until it's smooth, and then I'll take it off the heat. Okay, there is some smooth dark chocolate. All right. So I'm just going to let that sit so it can cool down a little bit before we add it to the rest of our mix. Okay, so our next step, I've got my mixer all ready. I've got my beater attachment on today. We are going to beat our butter and our sugars till they're smooth and creamy. So I've got 125 grams of unsalted butter. I've got it cubed up. It just needs to be, softened. Okay. And then we have 2 different types of sugar today. We have 150 grams of light Muscovado sugar, which I've said in other videos we don't really have in the States. So I'm substituting light brown sugar because that's the closest thing we have. If you have Muscovado sugar, sweet, use it. So 150 grams of light brown sugar is my substitute, and then 75 grams of golden castor sugar. I can only find white castor sugar, so that's what I have here. So I'm going to add those to my bowl. All right, and we're going to beat this on medium speed for 3 to 5 minutes. I just want it pale and creamy. All right, I think that's gotten to the pale and creamy stage. That was about 5 minutes of mixing. So speaking of 5 minutes, it has now been a little over 5 minutes for my tea bag. So I am going to squeeze the bag because it says to do so to get all of the flavor out of the bag and remove it so that it's ready to go. I don't know if you do it too long, if that makes a difference or not. So we've got my butter and sugar. I've got to add my beaten eggs. So I've lightly beaten 2 eggs today. So I'm going to add about half, beat it well, and then add the other half. All right, that looks pretty good. Both my eggs are in there and ready to go. Now we do have 2 types of flour in today's recipe. So I have put them in a bowl next to each other so you can kind of see the comparison. I'm just going to move that a little bit. So we've got plain flour. 100, let me see, let me make sure I have it right. Yeah, 175 grams of plain flour. So that's this over here, all-purpose flour. And then I also have 75 grams of what is supposed to be white rye flour. I couldn't find white rye flour. I've never made anything with rye flour, so I could only find dark. I hope that's not a big difference. I wanted to make sure I got rye because I know that there's a taste difference, so I went with dark rye flour. And then you can see I just have my baking powder already in here because I have a teaspoon of baking powder. So 175 grams of plain, 75 grams of rye flour. Mine's dark. It's supposed to be white. I'm going to sift this in here. And then I'm also going to sift in my spices, which is what makes it a chai. Okay, so I've got, let me get this straight. 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, okay, so the yellow stuff. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, okay, the cinnamon, yeah. And then half a teaspoon of ground cardamom, which is this one, the lighter one. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground clove, so the dark one is just 1/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to sift that in with my flour. And then so I'm just going to add that to my bowl real quick so it's all in there and I can sift it all together along with my pinch of salt. Make sure I find my pinch. Man, Pumpkin, my cat is really excited to say hi to you guys today. Okay, pinch of salt. That was way more than a pinch. Okay. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, which I just think is kind of an interesting addition, but I'm going to just grind it in here and get close to 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm not really sure how best to measure ground pepper when you like grind it freshly like that. Okay, because it doesn't really stay in a teaspoon. All right, so I've got it all in my bowl and I'm just going to sift it in. I guess I should do that not right over that. Adjust my camera. Okay, so I'm going to pour that into my sifter. I really kind of wish I had a different sifter. I don't know. The other ones seem to work better. I'll take this off a little bit. Okay, so we're going to sift. This back on. All my flours are now in there. It smells really good. I love it when you sift spices like that because it always smells so fragrant. Now it does say to put it all in there, so that's why I just combined it all right into the bowl. And then I'm going to mix until just combined. It doesn't necessarily say not to use the mixer, so because we use it on the next step, so I'm going for it. That looks just combined to me. Now I'm going to add the tea, the milk tea, and the melted chocolate. So I'm going to pour my milk tea in along with my melted chocolate. All right, all the chocolate in there. Now it says beat. So beat for 1 minute or until combined. All right, that looks really good. Yeah, nice and evenly smooth. It's got a good chocolate color to it. I'm a little curious about the chocolate because like chai to me doesn't scream chocolate flavor. But I am going to follow the recipe as it says, and then if I make it again, maybe I'll try it without the chocolate because I'm curious. All right. But I'm saying that and I haven't even tasted anything yet. So. All right, yeah, look at how deliciously smooth that looks. Or just good, I don't know. It does look really good. All right, now the thing is with this recipe is this is a chill recipe. So you can either cover this and chill the dough for 4 hours, at least 4 hours, or preferably overnight. I'm going to go with the overnight just because. Why not? Let it all set and meld together, all the flavors. So I'm going to let this chill and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, it is tomorrow. So I've let the dough chill overnight. So you can see it there. Looks really good. Very chocolatey. Anyway, so it says to roll. Well, first off, I have my oven heating. It's going to 180 degrees Celsius or 355 degrees Fahrenheit. And it says to get 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Okay, and 4 tablespoons of icing sugar in 2 different bowls. So I've got those ready to go. And then using your hand, shape the cookie dough into neat walnut-sized balls. I guess I'm not super familiar with the size of a walnut. Is that like a ping pong ball? I had to Google it. So I'm going to use this because that's going to give me more even because I'm not really sure how big that's supposed to be. Anyway, so I'm going to scoop it out with this and then shape it and roll it. And then you're supposed to put it into the granulated sugar, roll it in there, and then shake off the excess, roll it into the icing sugar. So let's give that a try. Now I just pulled this out of the refrigerator. So it's stiff. It's really stiff. I mean, it's been in there overnight. I'm supposed to also get 30 balls. So we'll see. Okay, there we go. So granulated sugar first, it said. Roll it in. Okay. Shake off excess and then roll it in the icing sugar. Okay. And then give it plenty of space well apart on the lined baking sheet. I guess they're going to rise quite a bit and puff. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And hopefully that's a good size. If I get more than 30, it's not really a problem to me. Quite enough in that one. But yeah, here we go. All right, so I have a half batch done. There they sit. I don't know how far apart they spread. It just says well apart, so I wanted to make sure they had plenty of room. So I'm going to put these in the oven at, like I said, 355 degrees Fahrenheit for 13 to 15 minutes. And while those are cooking, I'll get the other batch ready to go. Okay, my timer just went off. It's been 13 minutes, so I'm going to get those out. Those looking good. It does say till slightly puffed and starting to firm up around the edges, and I kind of reached in a little bit, and it's starting to firm up. I mean, I don't want to overcook the cookies, but they look really good. I love how they crackled. I was able to get 34 cookies out, and I actually ended up needing 2 more trays. You see here, I could fit, but I could have fit it, but I didn't. Space it just right. So I'm going to get these in, and then we'll let those other first ones cool. Okay, everybody, we are ready to taste our chai crackle cookies. They look really good. Before I taste it, there is one note. The second batch I put in, I don't know if you can tell from here, I should have put it back in the refrigerator to chill the dough back down, because you can noticeably tell, like, so this is from the first batch, that's from the second batch. They kind of spread out more. You can see it when they're compared all together, but maybe one by one like that, it's not as easy. So if you need to do 2 batches like I had to, chill the dough back down. I don't know if that would be best, just the bowl itself, probably easiest, or put the cookies back in the fridge after you form them. But do that so that they look all pretty. I'm sure they taste similar, but it's just an aesthetics thing. But I really love how they crackled. I mean, that's like cool. I've done a couple cookies like that, but I'm always excited by pretty and different. All right, let's give them a taste. Cooked perfect because it was nice and soft. Wow, yeah, you can definitely taste the tea and like the spices and everything. It's definitely like a chai tea. And I have the chocolate in there too. So it's like a chocolate tea, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And the powdered sugar on the outside gives it like a sweet first taste, and then you get into that tea. So that's really cool. I like that flavor. I think I would try it next time without the chocolate, just because I'm not a huge chocolate fan. So I would be interested to see how much different the cookie would taste without the chocolate part. But otherwise, really good, really easy. I mean, total 30 minutes hands-on, like including the rolling of it. So not all that hard. The chilling of the dough took overnight, but that's pretty easy to do. But yeah, these are really good, worth the effort. I would try them again for sure. That was the latest bake on my Great British Baking Show Love to Bake cookbook. If you enjoyed this, got this far, awesome, sweet, like this video, and then maybe go check out some of the other ones I've made. There's some really awesome ones out there. And then, of course, subscribe so you can see when my next video drops. But I will see you next week.